by the way, Boone, while you're up here, I don't know if I think you probably already saw by now, but the your Monero PR did merge a little while ago.
I did see that. I'm
Yeah,
very excited to see it on ChainNet.
yeah, that's the next step. We'll get the chainnet folk to launch it, which should be pretty quick. They're pretty responsive on that kind of stuff. And we'll start testing on chainnet and seeing how that goes and finding issues and bugs and patching as we find them and all that kind of stuff.
Boone, I could hear your smile even though I can't see you. Your smile was audible, buddy. I just want you to know that, okay?
I am
Oh, so
proud
very excited.
father. I am proud father.
Oh, I love it. Yeah, really good stuff. I love it. Yeah, that Chad, when that happened, a lot of Telegram groups I'm in just started freaking out. I mean, that spread real quickly. That knows, I mean, like within minutes, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
So,
yeah, yeah.
oh yeah, super, super
I
exciting.
I literally had a meeting with the chainnet team yesterday actually, and we were talking about all the different chains that we're working on and Zcash and Monero, blah blah, blah Tau, and I was just like, we got to get that Monero thing merged. Like it's really gonna
Absolutely.
people are gonna really really connect with that, and I don't care if it's perfect. Like it's not the point of merging at this moment. Like it can be imperfect. We'll fix it. Obviously the most important thing is we don't lose money. Like that's the most important thing. Everything else, we can always just patch it and move on and whatever. But it doesn't have to be perfect right now. We've already thrashed the fuck out of that PR. It's had like bazillion comments, and I'm sure Boone's tired as hell of having to deal with my comments and Sly's comments and blah blah blah, and just like constantly like,
No, it
you
was
know,
my pleasure.
it can be annoying for some developers in that scenario. Maybe not Boone in this particular case, but just getting it merged, and then we can start testing it now, finding issues. Otherwise, just like looking at the PR for another 2 weeks with my eyes only is just it's just not a good usage of time, to be honest with you. Like
I love it.
maybe I'll find another bug or two just by like not doing another pass through it or whatever. But you're gonna find the bugs most easily just by running it on chainnet and start doing swaps and add liquidities and all sorts of different types of transactions, and then like probably running into edge cases. I know JP's been running Monero like privately on his own local system and testing A, B, and C. And I think he was telling me the other day that he found a bunch of like weird edge case scenarios where things can go awry or wrong, and so we'll be integrating those concepts of things that he noticed in his personal testing that he's been doing, just to make sure we can get things as solid as we can before we get actually to mainnet.
Absolutely love it. Absolutely love it. That's our correct decision. Just get it on there. Just start twisting it, pulling it, yanking on it, pulling levers, pushing buttons. That's gonna be much more interesting. And I think your point, Chad, it's gonna help us, get this thing even done quicker, right? So
Yeah.
I love it. Absolutely. So excited. So did you I don't know, maybe you want to talk about this, but if you don't recommend this at all, but technically once that happens, people can make swaps, right, in that test environment that is in, correct?
Yeah, so chainnet is like it's a public blockchain, just like mainnet in a sense, right? It is something that could go away at any moment, like just because of testing purposes or whatever. So it's not really encouraged that people put their actual money, because it does deal with like layer one Bitcoin and layer one Monero, and like it is real assets. It's not testnet fake assets. It is real assets. So technically speaking, one chain that is live with Monero, you could actually trade from Monero to Bitcoin or whatever in that moment. Again, I would not recommend that. And if you did, I would recommend keeping the amount small, because things could go wrong, and and obviously it's not a validated chain yet. It's not tested. It's not so I would advise against it. But technically speaking, you could actually make the first Monero to Bitcoin trade just in a decentralized way, if you were so inclined.
How big are the pools on ChainNet? Is it like $100, $1,000?
That's a good question. It is pretty small. Maybe like $1,000 or something like this, like very
Yeah.
tiny. It's not obviously not there to provide a significant amount of liquidity. It's just there to test the functionality of.
Watch the DJs get in there and jack the volume on XMR pull on ChainNet. And
I don't even know if anybody's even arbing the thing, right? Like even if you did like a streaming swap it may not even work as a streaming swap because there's no arbs that are arbing the pools. So it would effectively trade as not a non-streaming swap, even though it did actually stream, because there's no arbs, midstream arbing the other direction to give you that kind of high efficiency output. So again, like that's why I wouldn't necessarily recommend people actually touch it or interact with it, other than if you want to test it, if you want to try some things out and you don't mind possibly losing the money that you're throwing into the system, then maybe that'd be fine. But we can't guarantee funds, of course, and wouldn't recommend people putting real money in that thing.
The real reason I brought that up, Chad, is because I know a few Monero developers. I don't know who they are, right? But they reach out to me on X, and they're very excited, very curious. Do you think it's worth their time to play with it as well? I don't know. Maybe that's solely for. I don't know if there's any utility there at all.
If they do want to do that, I think that's okay. I would recommend them doing it with our devs as well, to be a part of the process or whatever, and not just like going rogue and like just start doing crap. Because maybe we're not ready for them to do that crap because we're still trying to get this other part done first, which is precedes that or something like this. And so to do it in a more collaborative sense, that'd be great. It'd be good to get a pair of eyes that's Monero experts to help us validate X, Y, and Z. That would be positive, and we would appreciate the assistance and help and engagement from that community. But I'd rather do it in a collaborative kind of way than a rogue state running off and doing a bunch of random stuff.
Makes sense to me. Makes sense. Perfect. Well, that's huge news, guys. I'm so excited. XMR being merged, at least in the Thor node. Testing is going to start happening. Like, this is real, right? That's the real deal right there. There's just no more theoretical, like, it's coming. So, a huge milestone.
Actually, like another benefit we haven't talked about yet is that in 3.18, which is being cut today, we put all the changes to the Thor node side of things. Like there's like the Bifrost side, and then there's like a Thor node side. We put all the Thor node stuff changes already in that was already merged like earlier this week into the 3.18 release, which basically means we can release the Monero side, the Bifrost side, arbitrarily at almost any moment we want. So we can cut 3.18.1, for example, whenever we feel like it. And within 3.18.1 is a working, functioning, Monero or maybe even Tau / like Polkadot. And so we could release that like anytime over the next like week or 2 or 3 weeks or 4 weeks or 5 weeks, or like we don't have to wait for the next 3.19 release, which would be like probably like 6 weeks from now or greater. We could do it much sooner. So hopefully by the end of May or maybe into June, we can have Monero live and trading and early stages. And I would suggest like low liquidity to start, just to make sure there's no major problems or issues. I wouldn't suggest putting $1 billion through there on day one. But yeah, we could probably go live, by the end of May or like, early June, hopefully.
Wow.
Simply incredible. Simply incredible.
Yeah.
And those, because we're going to have people watching who are maybe not that familiar with THORChain. So, it basically, we can push XMR in a patch. And then when we do, we have to have a churn. And then that will create the vault. Then it has to be seeded, which again, to Chad's point, won't be a lot of money. And then swaps would have to be activated via Mimir by nodes, I think, right? Then you could swap. And at that point, to Chad's point, you want to be careful, not use a lot of funds, and realize do not be surprised if XMR pauses right away because of a bug. That's very likely to happen.
It's very possible because you can't recreate the chaos kind of environment that mainnet has in a test environment like ChainNet. You have like no chaos in like unit tests, a little bit in regression, a little bit more in testnet, a little bit more in ChainNet. But you don't get like full chaos, you know what I mean, of crazy weird behaviors until you get to mainnet, unfortunately. So you do the best you can and before that point. But there's a decent chance, especially being a very new chain, which is very complicated. There's a lot of technical kind of nuances to this particular chain relative to most other chains, and so there's just a lot of opportunity for things to go awry or weird or in a way that's unexpected or what have you.
Yeah, it's really hard to explain how exciting this is. I'm thinking if we know when it's about to go live, maybe Kenton, we should do like a special episode on a day. If we have time to just kind of like walk people through it. You know what I mean? Because
Yeah, we should bring Cake Wallet on for that one too, because I know Cake Wallet's going to be like ready.
that'd be great.
We were talking to them at the Bitcoin conference. I think you and me and
Yep.
I think Randy was there too, and Kenton, and you know, I think they sound like they're ready like almost like day one for Monero trades, and Cake Wallet's obviously a massive wallet within that community. So whenever if we do something like that, it'd be I think it would be probably beneficial to pull on, you know, one of the Cake Wallet guys.
They kind of promised me in a way, but they committed to it themselves. They said we'll have it live day one. When you guys go live, we'll have it live on the wallet. So
yeah,
and I've had a few Monero wallets have reached out to me to get an API to do this. So yeah, it won't just be Cake will be the biggest, obviously.
Yep.
But it won't be the only one. So yeah.
Edge Wallet said the same thing to me, that they're going to try to be ready on day one as well. So this is, I think there's a lot of people watching this, and they are very eager, and rightly so, because this is a huge moment. So, woo, boys, I'm really excited. I don't know about y'all. I better calm down. I'm not gonna drink this. I'm not gonna drink it. Okay, I'll lose my mind.
No, you can't drink it. It's mine. You can't drink that. You got to put it in the mail.